A political storm has hit Downing Street, brewing with an intensity not seen in years and sending shockwaves through the heart of British politics. The turbulence is shaking Prime Minister Keir Starmer's government to its very core, testing the resolve of his leadership and the unity of his team. On September 2nd, 2025, a major reshuffle was announced. Far from routine, it was a bold and calculated move to reassert Starmer's authority, silence critics, and reset his administration's direction at a critical juncture. The changes were swift and decisive, altering the balance of power at the highest levels and sending a clear message that the Prime Minister is determined to take control. It signalled a new, more centralised approach to government, with key decisions now being made by a tighter inner circle of trusted advisers. The relationship between number 10 and number 11 Downing Street is now under the spotlight as the Chancellor and Prime Minister navigate shifting alliances and responsibilities, with the consequences set to impact every citizen across the country. This is a pivotal moment for a government still finding its footing, one that could define its legacy and shape the nation's future for years to come. As journalists scramble to analyse the details and speculate on the motives behind each appointment, the public is left to wonder. Will this high-stakes gamble bring much-needed stability, or will it unleash further chaos and uncertainty in an already volatile political climate? The coming months will reveal if Starmer's reshuffle is a masterstroke of political strategy or a miscalculation with lasting consequences for the nation. Starmer's reshuffle comes after a tough year for Labour, marked by growing public discontent and mounting pressure from both inside and outside the party. The mood among voters has shifted, with many expressing frustration over the pace of change and the party's response to key national issues. Recent polls have shown the government trailing the Reform Party, a warning sign that Labour's grip on public support is slipping. Headlines across the country highlight the growing challenge from political rivals, making it clear that action is needed to regain momentum. The urgency to act was unmistakable. Starmer needed to demonstrate strong leadership and reassure the public that he was prepared to steer the country through a period of economic and political uncertainty, no matter how turbulent the road ahead. At the heart of this bold move is a desire for greater control over economic policy, breaking down traditional silos within government, and ensuring that the Prime Minister's vision is not just heard, but actively shapes the country's direction. Recent controversies over benefit cuts have exposed significant weaknesses in the government's economic planning, sparking public outcry and fueling the urgent need for change at the highest levels. The reshuffle is a high-stakes attempt to reset the narrative, restore public trust, and prove that Starmer is a proactive leader who is willing to take decisive action rather than simply acting as a caretaker during difficult times. By bringing in new talent and reconfiguring authority within his team, Starmer is signalling a clear willingness to make tough decisions and take bold steps to deliver on his promises, aiming to show the country that real change is not just possible but already underway. The biggest casualty of the reshuffle is Chancellor Reeves, whose authority has been sharply reduced. Once a central figure in the Treasury, her influence has waned significantly. While she remains at number 11, new power centres now bypass her, signalling Starmer's dissatisfaction with her performance. This shift marks a dramatic change in her role. Reeves's handling of sensitive issues like disability benefits drew criticism and nearly cost her the job. She survived, but at the expense of her autonomy. Her decisions are now under a microscope. Starmer has built a parallel economic team in number 10, with major financial policies now scrutinised by his own advisers before reaching the Treasury. This new structure limits her direct control. Reeves is no longer the sole gatekeeper of the nation's finances, a significant demotion in practice. Her role has been fundamentally altered. She must now navigate a landscape where her influence is challenged and her decisions face new oversight. The path ahead is fraught with challenges. The dynamic between number 10 and number 11 is tense, and Reeves must re-establish her authority under intense scrutiny. Her ability to adapt will determine her future. Darren Jones, once Reeves's deputy, now steps into the powerful new role of Chief Secretary to the Prime Minister, reporting directly to Starmer. This strategic move centralises economic power in number 10, giving Starmer direct insight into Treasury operations and reducing dependence on the Chancellor. Jones becomes a key gatekeeper, ensuring Treasury plans align with Starmer's political objectives. Starmer has also appointed Baroness Minouche Shafik, a world-renowned economist, as his chief economic advisor. Shafik's arrival signals a desire for independent expert advice, creating a rival source of economic wisdom to the Treasury. These appointments form a formidable new economic unit at the heart of government, designed to give Starmer ultimate control. The message is clear. Economic policy will now be shaped by number 10. Not everyone is applauding Starmer's bold reshuffle. Experts like Paul Johnson of the Institute for Fiscal Studies have called the timing extraordinary, suggesting the government was unprepared for the complexities of power. The risk institutional conflict as a parallel economic power base in number 10 could lead to chaos if the Prime Minister and Chancellor clash. Traditionally, government relies on a strong partnership between number 10 and the Treasury. Rival teams could mean gridlock and instability. The public nature of Reeves's sidelining fuels a narrative of internal strife, potentially undermining investor confidence. While Starmer hopes the changes bring long-term control, the short-term disruption could be politically costly. The success of this new system depends on whether the key players can work together despite the tensions. The reshuffle didn't stop at the top. Starmer extended changes throughout his team, installing loyalists in key positions. James Murray, a trusted ally, replaces Jones as Chief Secretary to the Treasury, ensuring Starmer's influence inside the department. Rising star Daniel Tomlinson is promoted to a junior Treasury role, signalling that loyalty and ambition are rewarded. High-profile departures followed. James Lyons, Director of Strategic Communications, was sacked, reflecting dissatisfaction with the government's messaging. The exit of Nin Pandit, Starmer's principal private secretary, suggests ongoing instability at the heart of government. These moves show Starmer is still searching for the right team to deliver his agenda. The period ahead will be one of adjustment and continued flux at the centre of power. In the wake of the reshuffle, Starmer addressed the nation, acknowledging public frustration and the lack of visible improvements in daily life. He admitted the pace of change has been too slow and shared in the public's impatience, framing the reshuffle as a necessary step to inject new urgency. Starmer argued that centralising economic control and bringing in new advisers would make his government more decisive and effective. He positioned himself as a leader, willing to make tough changes to deliver results, not just manage headlines. The narrative, action over stability, with the reshuffle as a means to deliver on promises of better living standards and public services. Starmer is betting the public will value results over internal drama. The ultimate test: can his new team finally deliver the change Britain demands?